Greetings, God bless, and welcome back. So, every so often, there's some kind of violence in a school or a large venue that is meant to control people's behavior, reactions, decisions, opinions, and I really think past 3 years is quite telling. Elders were hostage in nursing homes and hospitals, and families were not allowed to see people in nursing homes and hospitals, and uh, certain medications and machines that did not help people's conditions were applied because it profited the hospital or nursing home. And uh, other like pneumonia and and influenza were grandfathered in, or they were put under the same umbrella as the CV. And it's a cliche how people talked about somebody died from in a car accident, or they had a broken leg, but they were all called having had CV because hospitals are there to make a profit, and they were not going to leave money on the table. That's just what their shareholders, their investors want. And in my opinion, I think that causing the most harm, the most amount of suffering, and the most violent death is also what certain key high level people in the medicine, pharmacological, satanic industry wants. And in my worldview, and this is just my worldview, this is not the opinion of this platform or anybody else on this platform. I am one in a trillion, one in a bajillion. I'm probably the only one that thinks this way. So I just want to make that clear. I'm just expressing my own opinion. But I believe that what goes on Earth, it revolves around human trafficking. And there's soft human trafficking and uh, really just brutal human trafficking. I think that political figures like elected officials, senators, and governors and whatnot, I believe that they are bribed, brainwashed, or blackmailed because it just does not make sense. Like what passes, what somebody says one day and does another, and the great suffering that goes on, and for no reason. There's resources, there's money, even in hard times. There's money, but it's not used properly, and there's just all this corruption and corruption that's like facilitating the demise of civilization and humanity, and actually, I do believe the planet, because when we invest self-assembling nanotechnology into human biology, and then it's put in the wastewater, and the wastewater is filtered, and then we're drinking this water, and it's going to get into nature, it's going to get into the water supply itself, one way or the other. And then that terraforming, that self-assembling nanotechnology is going to infiltrate in, like a dog goes to the bathroom at the park, and then that dog poop goes into the tree or near a walnut that a squirrel eats, and so then that nanotech is going to go into that tree and that squirrel and the water supply in nature and birds and whatnot. So hate human beings. A lot of progressive liberals think humans are a cancer on the planet, and even though they may not say it aloud, they're like, yeah, the more people that die, the more children that are aborted, the better, as long as they get to live, and as long as their children and their grandchildren gets to live. That's the one of the problems with this environmentalist emergency human cancer on the planet, progressive liberal leftist Marxist communist totalitarian mentality, is that it's very authoritarian, better, and that everybody else, especially poor white people, and especially poor people of color, they should obey what this colonialist, patriarchal, and even if somebody's gay, even if somebody is a woman, they can be patriarchal. I mean, that's the irony, and the naivete of everybody is so predatory men are claiming to be women, and then these predatory men claiming to be women, they're being patriarchal. They are harming women. These predatory men who have no integrity are going in and mind raping women and girls in bathrooms, uh, in sports, and then the women are gaslit. And this is just what happens in corrupt satanic society. And this happened when Christianity was in power, and this same satanic thing is happening now that the trans gay agenda is in power. Like, women are targeted by Satan because Jesus came through a woman. But I wanted to talk about the bang bang thing. I was watching a Peggy Hall video just now, and she was talking about how parents are probably going to be concerned about their children, and it just was like, the past 3 years, what have parents been doing? They've been depriving their children of oxygen. The parents themselves have been depriving themselves of oxygen. So these parents are not making good decisions because they're deprived of oxygen. And then these parents have isolated, pine in cubicles, formidable times in the baby's life, and then like line them up to get this tiny gun, to get these tiny bullets. And then babies are having heart attacks. Children are having heart attacks. Athletes are having heart attacks or blood clots or whatever. Terrible reactions. And these parents are like, I'm so glad I did it. I'll do it again. We're doing booster 5, booster 25. You'll see people suffocating themselves and suffocating their children. Not as much, but it's still, and like, I still see people driving in a car alone, suffocating themselves. Number one, these people are debilitating themselves. Like, if somebody is willfully incapacitating themselves, depriving themselves of oxygen, they should not be operating a vehicle. They are demonstrating that they are not capable. Like, they need to go to a little rest home somewhere, because it's March 2023. There's plenty of information. There's plenty of experience we have all had. And if you're still wearing a mask and making your little child wear a mask, or making your elder wear a mask, making your client wear a mask, making your employee wear a mask, because who's not wearing masks? It's upper management. It's large, rich people, like wealthy people. They're not wearing masks. If you go into a fancy restaurant, who's wearing the mask? It's that entry-level employee. It's the dishwasher. It's not the customer. So back to my point, so the media, they want you to accept, and parents have. They want parents to accept that the baby's gonna die. You gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet. So parents have accepted their babies die from the injection. And how do I know that parents know their children are dying from the injection? Because there's no protest of the parent. Very little protest. There's no fundraiser. Let's find the cause. Why did my baby die? Why did my young athlete son die? Why did he have a heart attack? Everybody knows. They're not going to say it. They're not going to discuss it. Maybe very, very, very in private when somebody's wasted. Like, there's going to be so much guilt if we're alive, 5 years from now. There's so many parents, I hope they're going to feel guilty. Maybe not. What I think is like this double. Parents are like, yeah, well, so my baby died. Now my teenager died, had a heart attack, had a blood clot. And I don't know what happened, and I don't want to know, right? Because these parents don't want to know. Nobody wants to know. Teachers don't want to know. Doctors don't want to know. Why are all these people before 2020, babies were not having a heart attack. And when babies attack or children were having a heart attack, it was investigated and people found reasons. It was like some type of infection or something like that, some type of toxic exposure, which is why babies and children are having heart attacks now, because it's some type of exposure, some type of toxic exposure, some type of poison. But parents, teachers, grandparents, doctors, nobody wants to figure it out. And anybody who does, anybody who ventures to say something, they're totally demonized. They're, taken out. But these Satanists, they want you to obey. Okay, your child's going to die when we say they're going to die. Your child's going to die the way we want the child to die. Your child's going to die as long as, in the way that it suits our agenda. But, and I agree with Peggy Hall that anything that's big news is probably some type of operation. It's some type of mind control theater. Now, yes, people do. I do understand that people have died, and it is a tragedy. But I do think it's something that's being exploited, and it's like this theater. So when children die at the hands of a useful tool, so for me, in my opinion, I do not think like snake venom is something that everybody should have around. I don't really think that everybody needs to have a hypodermic needle around. There's really clever things that people have. It's not for me. But like the bang bang type of object is what defends individuals against tyranny. Every country that has removed this method of self-defense, the government destroys things. I mean, that's what happened to the Native Americans. The Native Americans lost their mode of protection. But the progressive left Marxist agenda, the death cult people, so they're like, they hate this type of tool, so they're happy about the little hypodermic needle tool. They're like, yeah, oh well, it's my family, somebody had to die because we have to break a few eggs, so because nobody cares, nobody's fighting against. I mean, I'm speaking in broad terms. Maybe there's 10 people in America that are really upset about the violent early demise of their children. Like, there's probably 10 people who actually know what it is and are doing something about it. But, it's this age-old thing about demonizing this defense tool. And everybody's going to be all up in arms, even people who don't have kids. They're like, oh, it's so bad. This defense tool is so bad. We got to get rid of those defense tools. But these same people who are so upset about the defense tool are like, yeah, well, people die from medical procedures all the time. So, that's just how it is. You got to accept it. Now, I don't think people should accept wrongful death from a defense tool. But having lived in Montana, where everybody's like wasted, or they're so just distracted, even if they've never touched a drug or whatever. And there's a lot of guns in Montana, and a lot of leftist people have guns, and their hunting is in their heritage, and so they eat what they've hunted throughout the year. And I never saw anything out of hand. I was there 6 years, and there was one domestic murder thing, but that was 1 in 6 years. Now, I've lived in San Francisco, and when I was visiting somebody in the mission, we would hear machine gun fire. Now, this was in San Francisco, like where everybody hated guns, but in the mission where there's the gangs, there was like it was like I was near a military complex. Because when I was in Virginia, and we lived across from the Navy, it was like so center, there was gunfire going on all the time, like rapid fire, because they were just testing. They were just practicing how to shoot a gun with auto. The progressive liberal heart stronghold of San Francisco, there's gunfire all the time, automatic weapon fire, and then it was like I was living by a military base. So my point is that where everybody hated guns, in San Francisco. So who had the guns? It was the gangs. It was the Mexican gangs. Do the Mexican gangs care about what you think? Do the Mexican gangs care about anti-gun parents who want to protect their children from getting shot? These parents who don't want their children to get hit with a bullet, but the parents are going to serve up the kid to get mysterious liquids into their bloodstream and have a heart attack. Is this just madness? It's madness. We are in madness. And maybe madness has always been around, and maybe we're just being allowed to see what a mad world it is. And I just, like, parents shouldn't be parents. I think parents, and I see this with the whole gender transsexual thing, is parents are so consumed with keeping up with the Joneses, having a fancy house, having a great husband, an attractive husband, being a beautiful, attractive, look like a temple prostitute kind of a woman, with big makeup and big hair and big everything. Because what temple prostitutes were? They were men. They were men dressing as women. So women aren't even trying to dress as women. Because what do women have? We have little features. We're little delicate. We don't have big fat lips, and not all of us, and we have little shoulders, and we have little hands, like I'm a part Danish, part Croatian, so I'm kind of a taller lady, but women are trying to look like a man dressing as a woman. Women aren't trying to even be like we've been brainwashed that, oh, you have to have a lot of makeup, and you have to have fancy hair, and you got to do all this. Like, in nature, let's look at nature. Who's the gussied up creature? Who has the biggest? What the peacock? Is that a girl? No, it's a man. It's the male. It's the male bird, and that's what I think the subtext of this whole glamour thing, that women are brainwashed. We're being brainwashed to look like a man dressing as a woman. But women are like, but I love trying to dress like a man dressing as a woman, and that's your prerogative, it's a free world, but that's what you're doing. You're not being feminine. Like we're told, like Coco Chanel was a dude. Like, just look at all, like, Gloria Steinem was a dude. Look at these people like as if they're a guy, and then you see that they're a guy. Like, all, like, the founder or the editor of Cosmopolitan was a dude. All these fashion people, like the guy who did Playboy, he was a female to male. And all the Playboy bunnies, who are Playboy bunnies, who are Victoria's Secret models, what was Victoria's Secret? Victoria's Secret she was a man, just as those models are, just as those Playboy bunnies are. Debbie Harry's a dude. Just look, it's a dude. Like, people are like, oh, what a cool look. No, it's just a guy dressing as a girl. Or when a girl dresses as a guy, a lot of big male, like Tom Cruise, that's a female to male. Impressive, incredible performance, but the guy who started Playboy, that was a female to male. Marilyn Monroe was a male to female. share. So anyways, yeah, there's just like this satanic ritual, because that's what this gender inversion thing is. It's a pan oath. And if you've ever done any like research on different traditions, native peoples and whatnot, Hindu, like it was assumed that if you have both genders, you're going to have double the power, double the strength. But it's demonic. It's probably some type of fallen angel technology, because it's demonic. It's when you're rejecting a part of yourself that's God's creation, or when you reject the whole of yourself. You are, if you're female, you're a woman or you're a girl. So I just think, and parents are delivering up their children to be, have their nether regions scrambled, and have a lifetime of operations and medical procedures. That is not, I mean, even going to your yearly physical is not a pleasant experience. And then to make trans, like post-operative, like to operate on a little kid, and have them have to have a lifetime, like their whole life is going to be going to the doctor. Like parents are going to be preoccupied taking their kids to the doctor. And I think what happens is parents have been so consumed with this whole competitive keeping up with the Joneses, particularly the mother, but also the father. So the males have been emasculated. So they're only supposed to be beta males. They're only supposed to be metrosexuals. They're not supposed to be masculine, even though that's what the woman really wants. So she gets her metrosexual beta male, but then she's on the hunt for a hot man that she's gonna cheat on her husband, on her metrosexual with, because a biological woman wants a viable real man. So women are, like, and I think the problem, I don't know, 15 years ago or something, it was like, this is the age of the woman. And I think that is really out of hand, because women are like, oh, well, I'm the new man now. I'm the new patriarch now. That's exactly what's happened. It's like, I'm the new colonialist, or yeah, like people are like, oh yeah, the white people were so bad. You know what? If the blacks could be colonialists, or like they would. I mean, but anyway, I think parents are they're just having kids to just have the proper things you're supposed to have to virtue signaling. Here, I've made it. I'm an adult. I have my car. I have my job. I have my house. I have my child. I have my dog. I have my Instagram worthy home and lifestyle and hobbies, and different income streams. So people are trying to do too much. It's not sustainable. And they're just like ignoring their pets, ignoring their. Just been studies about how parents don't spend enough quality time. They have to schedule quality time with their kid. It's like they maybe spend 10 minutes of quality time with their kid, maybe, like, and people think this is acceptable. I don't know. I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and after school I'd do my homework and talk with my mom while she made dinner, and talk with my siblings, and we'd watch TV together. And on weekends we'd hang out, and people are like thinking they have to live the lifestyle of rich and famous, and so they have to make all this money and have, like, just focus on what's not important. They're going to Thailand, or they're always going out of town or something like that. They have to have their second home, and they don't really have time for family, but they look great, they're having status. So people are just so dissociated from what really matters. And then there's this trans agenda that's it's in children's cartoons, children's TV shows, and school, like kindergarten and whatnot. They have that drag queen story time hour. So the children are told or or they begin to ask themselves, what am I? Oh, that gay character or that transgender character is so cool. I want to be like that. So I'm transgender. And the parent who's so consumed with their career and their looks and their Instagram and their income streams and whatever, the one thing that stops the parent, because all this time I'm sure the child was like, mommy, mommy, mommy. And the parent's like, oh, just stop annoying me, you nuisance, like just don't go take care of yourself. Go let the tablet babysit you. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing parents just like have this tablet in front of their like toddler, and the little baby's just like being hypnotized by this machine. Oh, I mean, just like leave the child in your apartment or something like that. Just don't like give the kid some blocks and some sticks, and even if they hurt themselves, like this hypnotizing, getting your kid hypnotized, hooked on like blue light and the flicker rate and stupid TV shows. It's just like it's like, Lord help us, because this is not fair to that baby. So anyway, because there's a status of your kid being gay or your kid being trans, so this status-driven mom, I think it's most of the time, is like, oh wow, my child now is trans. That's gonna give me status. That's I can virtue signal with that. I'm here for my baby. They wouldn't stand up for their baby to breathe. They wouldn't stand up for their baby to keep an intact bloodstream and intact human DNA, but they'll go deliver their baby up to the Moloch, uh, chop up the child's reproductive system, God, like, because that's this new form. This is this new twisted, disgusting form of child human sacrifice, is to get the child under the knife and their body chemistry messed up with hormones, and do deception and whatever, because it's deception to try to pass as the opposite of what you are. Like with the current thing, because it's March 28th. So the current bang thing about the defense tools that the left is trying to cast aspersions upon, like the lady driving is in a minivan. It looks like a minivan. Like when a guy is gonna do something bad and he's gonna have it just says it all. Like when a female to male is talking about crying all day because she's getting her treatment. I mean, that says it all. Because guys do not cry all day. Guys who are violent are not riding around in a minivan or a Prius or whatever. Like it's just like these transgendered people, like they're definitely struggling. Like and God bless those people and God help those people. But there's something that they don't see, they don't know yet, and I'm not making fun of them. It's just this reality is just too weird. It's tragic. It's and actually it's crazy. It's to see how people with the leverage have just have failed to stand up for what's right. Because people who have leverage, if they want to get injections, if they want to deprive themselves of oxygen, actually, as long as they're off work, that's all right. But to me, if you want to drink, 2 bottles of Jack Daniels and drive a bus, no, you don't get to do that. You don't even get to take care of your children if you're going to be drinking 2 bottles of Jack Daniels every day, because depriving yourself of oxygen, it is impairing your thinking. I mean, not only is it making you sick, not only is it making you a cesspool because you're capturing all these toxins, all this bacteria, all these pathogens. So you're catching it on this moist surface and you're breathing it back in. So you are going to be a vector of who knows what, because we exhale 250,000 times a day. We're exhaling waste 250,000 times a day. And if you capture all that, it's going to be like this little black ball of gunk. But when you're not allowing it to be, dispersed, you're just keeping those toxins right there to breathe in. I think that person is like a, pathogenic petri dish. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to be in their aura because they're going to be shedding. They're going to be emitting because your skin excretes wastes when we can't excrete through our lungs and through our bowels and through our bladder. So your skin is trying to get rid of stuff because your skin is your biggest organ, and it's like known as the third lung. So yeah. So I think like the people who have good self esteem and have the capacity for being assertive, they've just bailed on humanity, except for the 10 that are genuine and that have made a sacrifice. So many people have just said, well, I'm just going to hunker down and I know better, but I'm not going to stand up for anything. And yeah, and this is what happens. You have this like totally fallen world, and it's just like out of control. And I'm pretty certain that certain we are at the end of the world, and we are in the end times, the last seconds of the end times. But I don't howl. Like I can't say I have a whole lot of energy, and I'm not inspired to be here for another month, or another year, you know. But I do think we have to uh, be informed, care, say something. So yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about this hypocrisy that people are like, oh, you can inject my child with your needle magic, questionable non FDA stuff. You can operate on my child, inside my child, even though we don't know the consequences, or we do know the consequence, and we know it's terrible. So the parents are like, but we, we've got to. The parents are like, but we hate these defense tools. These defense tools that actually preserve freedom for other people. Like everybody wants the people that are pro needle magic want everybody to do the pro needle magic. They want everybody to do the needle magic. Everybody who's pro these operations want everybody to do these operations. But the people who are pro defense tools, they're not saying you have to have the defense tools. The people who are pro defense tools just want to have the defense tools in case there's a home invasion or in case there's a government, crazy government thing. And that's this weird mentality, like the pro injection and the pro trans operation of children. Like they're so ridiculous. They're so like, and they'll tell the person who wants to have the defense tools. They'll tell the person who wants defense tools. They'll say the leftist will say, "You're so selfish." Do and to not and to surrender the protecting their children. It's just this weird situation, and it seems like so few people see it, and even fewer will say anything about it. So, anyways, what do you guys think? What have I missed? Thank you for watching, and God bless.